I'll skip some of the uninteresting parts and go to the main meat of this video. Let's see if Level Earth Observer really debunked the space shuttle.
Its design looks more like a Lego aeroplane than some badass spacecraft.
Yes, the design does look like that, but it's like that because of aerodynamics to minimize drag as it goes into space.
One is clearly reality and has been verified many times. The other is just pure fantasy. This is just a plane that comes into land. It's not any spacecraft coming from an orbit around a ball.
Both aren't fantasies. You can go see Atlantis the space shuttle at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. You also said it's just an airplane. It isn't. You're mistaken. It's a glider when landing. And when it lands it's manual, unlike the Buran.
And like I say, it's just a prop. An aeroplane that comes in and lands. Now whenever the space shuttle landed, it was always accompanied by jets.
The jets are there to help the shuttle pilot know the actual height above the runway during landing. They are also for safely escorting the shuttle.
Suppose it chased planes to help it land because the guys in the space shuttles were wearing space suits. So the chase plane was helping the guys land. Or so that's the official explanation for the chase planes. And that would be fine if it wasn't for the U-2 spy plane, as we're about to see. Now, as we know, the pilots of the U-2 spy plane wear spacesuits reaching high altitude. And when they land, because they're wearing the spacesuits, same as the shuttle guys, they've got poor visibility. But they use a chase car, which of course, as you can see, is below the plane and has a brilliant view.
When these airplanes land, it's hard for the pilots to see everything. So the Air Force, years ago, figured out they could put another pilot in a car that would follow the U-2 down the runway as it's landing, going 100 or 120 miles per hour or so, and radio the pilot to let him or her know they're coming in okay. The U-2 is not the same as the space shuttle.
Judith Resnick back in '86. And this is Judith Resnick, the Yale professor, about 10 years, maybe 15 years ago.
Just because they look similar does not mean they are the same person. The way their face features correlate with one another doesn't mean they're the same person after 10 years.
Interesting. This is Judith Resnick, the Yale professor in more recent years. A couple of images. There's Judith Resnick, the astronaut from back in the day. Of course, the images we've seen. A couple of comparison images. Obviously, it's an unusual name in itself. And the features are very similar, I have to say. Very similar. Again, another comparison. And now let's look at some voice comparisons. One clip of the astronaut at the start, followed by a clip of the professor. And I have to say, they do sound incredibly similar. I'll play it a couple of times, it'll play on loop. Again, come to your own conclusions here.
Both Judith Resnicks have the same name, but they are different people. People can have the same name at the same time. Judith Resnick the astronaut was an electrical engineer. Judith Resnick the lawyer was teaching at law school classes.
Well, I too am glad to be here one more time, and I am hoping that the affliction that Steve Hawley had from the 41D mission specialist of the delays hasn't rubbed off on me, and I think the guys behind me are hoping that it hasn't also.
So I live in New Haven, Connecticut, and therefore, since state courts are the central facet of adjudication in the United States, wanted to start with a 1784 courthouse in New London, Connecticut, that is still operating today.
Sounds different to me. One of them has glasses, shorter hair. The other has no glasses, bigger hair. The reason that tides occur due to the moon's gravity, while the same gravitational force of the moon exerted on a water droplet doesn't make a water droplet go up, is because the water droplet has not enough water to create pressure that result in tides, and this droplet doesn't extend to the other side of Earth from your location, unlike the oceans.